Oh, what a mess.
This is Neil Schneider from Meant to Be Seen. Welcome back to my messy basement. So, unless you've been living under a rock to know about it, there has been a major trial going on for the past 2 years between Zenimax and Oculus. Oculus/Facebook. Zenimax has accused Oculus of breaching a non-disclosure agreement, copyright infringement, and, walking away with trade secrets. Now, what happened was the jury made their judgment earlier this week, and the result was a charge to Oculus and its executives for $500 million, $500 million. And what they concluded was, according to the jury, that indeed Oculus and its executives breached a non-disclosure agreement, and that they participated with copyright infringement with their software developers kit. Now, what I've seen online, like after this judgment came out, is the gamers have shared an opinion, the consumers have shared an opinion. Of course, the media has discussed it. But I have seen like little to no input from the industry, from the game developers, people directly working in the field. And I just think that this is an important thing to talk about. So I'm going to share my opinion. I mean, much of Oculus got started here on Meant to Be Seen. And, I'm going to share it. I'm just going to, people have been asking me, Neil, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? So I'm going to tell you what I think. The jury on this. I think they were definitely was that the right way to go? Does that even make sense? I really hope that they succeed. I want great things for that company. Now, what really made me, and I think that was very important. That's my thought. I mean, maybe that's just me, So was this justice? On that note, our next interview is with Tero Sarkkinen. And Tero is the founder of Basemark. And they have a newly released software package that lets you test your computer to make sure that it will work with modern virtual reality devices like the Oculus Rift and HTC Vive and OSVR and so on. So we'll be back with Tero right after this. To my immediate left is Tero Sarkkinen. He is founder of Basemark. Welcome to the program, Tero.
Alrighty, great. Thanks, Neil. And by the way, very impressive pronunciation of Finnish first and last names.
Okay, so I got it right. It's a gift. It took 3 nights of practice to make that work, by the way. So tell us a bit about Basemark. How did you guys get started?
Founded Basemark a year and a half ago. I carved it out from my previous company, Rightware, and basically we started with a team of around 8 hardcore graphics engineers and graphics designers, and started making out graphics benchmarks and basically got into the VR very early on.
So when you started this company, what did you want to achieve that wasn't available before? What did you want to do that was unique?
Well, the VR was coming so fast, and then all the new HMDs from Oculus and Vive, and brought their own sort of layer of complexity into performance and latency measurement and all of that. So we wanted to create a tool that enables pretty much anyone to accurately and easily measure not only the PC or the laptop, but also the VR headset.
So now, okay, so you've got 2 new solutions. I think they go together. Congratulations on your release. I understand it's a staggered release where you're doing one for the professional market and then you're moving on to consumers. But maybe you could tell us a little bit about that. So what is VR Score? Let's start with that.
Yeah. Well, VR Score is a unified tool to measure the rendering performance of your PC, and then also the latency and performance of your VR headset. So it utilizes a game engine from Crytek to do the rendering test, and then our own patent-pending latency measurement device called VRTrek. So, and then, yeah, indeed, we just released a couple of days ago this VR Score and VRTrek for corporate customers, and we are really working hard to get the consumer versions ready so we can launch those soon as well.
All right. Now, you didn't just do this. There's an important reason for doing this. Why is benchmarking software so important? I mean, for people who've never heard of this before, why is this so key?
Well, benchmarking plays many roles for many different stakeholders. For the industry companies, starting, say, from PC manufacturers, they need to understand how performant are the new chips, say from Intel or AMD or NVIDIA. So they need to have an objective way to compare different products so that they can then decide what kind of PC configurations they're going to make. And I think for a big user group is media, which want to report pretty much the same thing to their readers. So basically, which technology is good and which technology gives you the best bang for buck, and what kind of quality and experience you can expect from various PCs or HMDs.
Now, I know that, I'm just going to name two popular brands. Oculus, of course, they have their own testing mechanism to know whether or not your computer's ready. And Valve, through HTC Vive, they've got their own tester to do a frame check. How do you set yours apart? Like, why is VR Score so important relative to these other solutions?
Well, first, we are a totally independent company, so you always will have these hardware companies sponsor their own tests or things, but it's a little different or difficult to compare. If you use Oculus solution, then you don't know, how that relates to the Vive, for instance. So we provide a tool that you can use objectively to compare different technologies against each other. So as a consumer, you might be very interested, for instance, to understand that for my PC, is it better for me to get the Oculus or the Vive? Because, they have a different overhead that they tax on your system. So one system could be running quite well using the other, but not with the other, for instance.
That's actually, it never occurred to me. I mean, I'm always thinking the other way around, but really, if you have a good solution like yours, where you're testing the computer, you kind of know that could actually help you with your decision process as to which VR device is right for you, provided, of course, you're not planning any major upgrades on your system. Am I right?
You're absolutely right, and you can also take it one step further. You say that, or maybe you read a review and say that when one of the other headsets is better or has nicer games, and you would like to get that, but then you run our benchmark and you realize that my PC is not really up to snuff to run that particular headset, but then our service can help you to find, for instance, graphics card upgrades that will take your performance to the required level.
Okay, you broke up a little bit there, but what I heard was you test your graphics card and your CPU. Can you elaborate, actually, just to be clear, what does VR Score test? Like, what components in the machine does it actually test?
Well, it tests the whole system level. So it runs on a CryEngine 5, and it runs a very high quality sort of AAA computer game developed the VR scene called codename Sky Harbor. And in doing that, it stresses the heck out of the GPU, so the graphics card, also of the CPU and also of the memory subsystem. So it's a pretty good workout for the whole system. So
why? I know you have a relationship with Crytek, and you mentioned CryEngine 5, and of course this software packet Sky Harbor. Yeah. Why was that strategically important for VR Score?
Well, at the beginning of when we started the planning for this product, we evaluated Unity, Unreal, and CryEngine. And Unity we had to drop quite early on because we wanted to focus on making sort of what we call forward-looking or sort of very advanced 3D VR test. So then it was really between Unreal and CryEngine. And to be honest, I think that both are really good for this kind of a purpose. Both are really high-end. But we felt most comfortable with CryEngine and found it to be very, very great for our purpose. And when we talked, we got well along with top management. That
you have to reset. You have to repeat your last sentence there. You completely broke up there.
Really? Okay. So yeah, we were then left with the decision between CryEngine and Unreal Engine. Which were quite on the same level, but then we really found that the CryEngine was much better for our needs, and then we met with the top management of Crytek, and we got along really well. So that sort of helped to seal the deal.
So why didn't you just create an engine internally? Like you could have probably just coded your own mechanism. Why would you use a game engine versus doing your own thing?
Yeah. Well, this was, we gathered a lot of feedback from big companies and customers in the field, and media particularly was telling us that, hey, it would be really great if you guys could do it based on a commercial game engine rather than do something on your own. So that's what we did, and I think it's also unique in that regard that it's built on a real-world game engine technology. But then the measurement methodology is coming from a professional company like us. So it's like a best of both worlds, I should say.
All right, good stuff. So the other aspect to this, now we've been speaking to the software side. Another part of this is VR Track, which I understand is a latency tester. Can you elaborate what that means? Like, why is this important?
Yeah. So VR Track is patent pending innovation by us, and as I said in the beginning, we wanted to develop a way for pretty much everybody or anyone to measure also the latency and the performance of the VR headset. So one of our engineers came up with this great idea that actually we could get a very high sampling rate in a sort of inexpensive hardware. So basically by joining a couple of photo sensors to the microphone jack of a PC. So microphone jack actually provides us with the 44 kilohertz sampling rate, which is very, very steady. So we can compensate for the latency that we incur because of going through that audio circuit. But so this gives us a way to equip anyone to really measure in very fine level of detail, like sub millisecond granularity, what is the latency of headset with their exact system.
So let's rewind a moment. So let's talk about the latency itself. Why is latency so important, especially in VR?
Yeah, in VR, latency kills. So that's what I like to say. So basically, you all know, if you put on a VR headset and you turn your head, then you expect the screen to be updated exactly right then and there. If there's latency, say 30 milliseconds or more, then the brain starts to really notice that, hey, something's not right. You know, the image is not updating as my brain expects. And this will create nausea or worse with a lot of people.
And you mentioned the audio jack. Can you elaborate a little more as to why this was such a big breakthrough? Like, what is it about the audio jack that makes it so special for this? The PC audio jack, I should say.
Yeah. Well, pretty much every PC has one, and it provides inexpensive way of getting extremely high sampling rate. So as I said, 44 kilohertz, which enables us to do less than 1 millisecond resolution in the latency testing. And it doesn't fluctuate, so it's always sort of the same, stays the same. So it's really just turned out to be the best solution for this. This also makes or means that actual latency testing we can do with photosensor. So it's anyone can set it up basically with a simple instruction video. You don't need to, wear a lab coat in order to really do those measurements.
Okay, good stuff. Now, going back to the software, when it comes to testing a modern computer, okay, what APIs are you testing with? Like DirectX, I should say.
Well, DirectX 12 has been the sort of the starting point for us. So we wanted to make sure that that's the first thing that we cover. So, and actually, right now, I think we are the unique and only VR test out there that enables you to test DirectX 12. Of the VR headsets, currently Oculus Rift is the only one though that supports DirectX. We do expect other ones too.
You're breaking up. Okay, rewind a little bit. You started off at Oculus and so are you still there? Okay, let's try that again.
Yeah. So we wanted to start from DirectX 12 because nobody has done that for VR benchmarking yet, and so we are really unique in this regard. But we also do support DirectX 11 so that you can compare older PCs, older versions of Windows, and also those HMDs that do not support yet DirectX 12.
Okay, good stuff. So you support Oculus, you support HTC Vive. What other platforms do you support?
We also support OSVR, and so we have tested the benchmark together with those three HMDs. But we also support the Steam VR SDK. So through that, there's probably or OpenVR SDK, and through that, then any HMD that supports that SDK, you can use together with the VR score.
Okay. Have you been looking at Vulkan as well?
Yes, we have, and we actually. Well, we got a Vulkan benchmark that's pretty far along, and we also are going to make some other Vulkan non-benchmark announcements pretty soon, but that's a different topic.
So for people unfamiliar, like Vulkan is the Kronos Group API. So DirectX 11, DirectX 12, that's put out by Microsoft, like as part of the Windows operating system, and Kronos has an open standard API called Vulkan, which is very popular. So good. That's good to hear. Okay. So how do people get their hands on VR Score and VR Track?
So easiest, just go to our website www.basemark.com and you can get it from there. So as I said, currently available for corporations. Also, we have a version for established accredited media, and we are feverishly working to get the consumer versions ready. So stay tuned. Okay,
wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us. And by the way, you're based in Finland, yes?
Company's based in Finland. Myself, I live in Zurich.
Okay, well, I'm only pointing it out because this is like a long distance call. So if anyone asks about the choppy audio, we have a very good excuse. But nonetheless, thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure. Thanks, Neil. All right, and thanks for everyone.
Thank you for visiting me in my messy basement. Boy, what a mess. I'll clean it up a little bit next time. If you want to be a guest on the show, by all means, send an email to neilsmessybasement@mtbs3d.com. Until then, this is Neil Schneider from Meant to Be Seen.